it was like dent.
Yeah. What's up? What's good? What's happening? Welcome to the King and Me show. I'm one half of this thing, King.
Hey y'all, it's me, Michelle. How y'all doing?
We are live, Lady Live, the first Monday. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
We are close to the middle of the Monday of March.
Yeah, we in the middle. It's literally the middle.
March
2 before, 2
17th.
after.
We just had a bloody moon, which was kind of dope. Did you see those pictures?
Nah.
I gave you a claw hand not even 30 seconds into the show. Goodness gracious. Man, the claw. And then we had St. Patrick's Day weekend here in the U.S. Is that a global thing? Do people globally?
To be honest, I don't know. I think Americans just look for a reason to consume alcohol. I legitimately did not do the history. However, I was showing my students my ancestry and they saw the Irish and I was like, bro, today is my day. And I don't even know the history behind it. I don't even know the history.
You have to get on that.
I do.
Is it cultural appropriation? That's kind of like your jam.
It is cultural appropriation.
It is. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. We here at the King and Me show attempt to offer a real outlook on a healthy relationship, real being relatable,
entertaining,
accountable,
and loving.
I thought we had upgraded some stuff. Well, actually we did.
We did.
Tell the people one thing that we do have now. We got a whole website.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about?
We got a whole website.
We got a website. Y'all, you can go get your King and Me merch and we want you to go get it. We want you to go check it out. We want you to order something. I need to go order me that cardigan. I have it in my cart and I haven't ordered it yet because I keep meaning to tell you about it so you can talk me out of spending money. But it is sitting in my cart.
Oh, we're investing in ourselves.
I know, because it's so cute. It's a cute little cardigan. I titled all of our clothing items and I named the cardigan the bougie one because I am the bougie one. So I am so excited about it. It's cute. It's cute, y'all. Go check it out. It's www.thekingandmeshow.com. Go check it out.
Good deal. Now, there's a couple of stuff that I was thinking about this, and somebody asked me, King, why would we get merch from you and Michelle? I'm like, well, look, y'all are supporting us, right? Yes. And in supporting us, you're supporting good people, good content, and a good message, really. We are not here, even if our comment section might want to call us certain isms and things. We got called, can I say the B word, bigot?
We got called bigot and racist. And I'm like, I swear that was a spammy comment.
Racist bigots. And it was like, this makes no sense.
I'm telling you,
whatsoever.
that was all spam. Like you, normally I'm the one who reacts to comments, but I saw that and I was like, man, some people be bored. Like you create a whole bot or do some spammy stuff just to say that for what reason? Like for what reason?
Yeah, I didn't get it, but you know what? It is what it is.
What are you doing?
We know who we are. I'm producing over here.
Okay, cause like you know I got ADHD. That's distracting me. Cause then I'm like, ooh, fancy buttons. What's happening?
Focus on the message.
So today we are talking about compliments.
Compliments.
Not the we compliment one another, not ketchup and mustard compliment one another, not COMPLEMENT. We're talking about COMPLIMENT.
MENT. Something as simple as, ooh, I love your hair.
Aw, and you are so handsome, baby.
Ooh, thank you. Now, we compliment each other fairly on the regular, but we're in a relationship. We were having a conversation at BlurredCon recently, and a couple of my homies, shout out to Will and shout out to Ruben.
Hey, y'all.
I don't know how we got to talking about this,
I
but
don't even know.
Ruben had brought up that guys don't get complimented out in the wild like that.
And for definition purposes, out in the wild means hearing, in this sense, it means getting a compliment from someone that you're not in a relationship with, someone that you don't know, someone that there's like no romantic entanglement, not a family member, something like that. So just Jane Doe walking down the street, someone gives you a compliment. That's what we mean by in the wild. So like out and about, take away the scenery that you're familiar with.
Let me ask you a question before we really jump into it. When you're out in the wild, and you're solo, what do you believe? Like, I know you are not here like, ooh, I'm gonna walk out and get compliments today. But how often, when you go back and hindsight things, do you receive compliment from men specifically?
Honestly, and like I'm not just saying this because you're my man and you're asking me this question, but when I go out and I'm by myself and in my head I think I look cute, I make sure that when I'm out and about I have headphones in and I'm not listening to anything else. So I literally make myself physically unavailable in those moments, or I'll be on the phone with you and or something like that, something where I can't hear or respond to any of those comments that are coming. That is something intentional that I do on my end because I am that person that'll just be like, "Oh, thank you." And like I'll smile and I don't want anyone to read too much into it. So I intentionally make sure I have headphones in. That way I don't hear that type of stuff. But if it's a woman, like I can still hear it. I just pretend that I can't. But if it's a woman giving me a compliment, I'll be like, "Thank you." And then, if it has pockets, I'll put my hands in the pockets and be like, "It has pockets." And get all like super duper excited. But if it's a guy, I will pretend like I can't hear it. And like I'll do things to make it look like if you said something to me, I wouldn't be able to hear what you're saying to me. If that makes sense.
Interesting. I think that the art of compliments is dying. And it's especially dead because I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it is rare for a man to receive a compliment from a woman. I can tell you the last 2 times that I've gotten compliments out in the wild and what that did for my day.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so one in particular, I was at a store and one of the workers there had complimented me on my watch. Now, I also happen to be dressed up that day too. So she didn't just compliment me on everything in general. Fresh haircut from earlier in the day.
Oh, okay.
I was going somewhere, and look, y'all, I'm in a t-shirt and basketball shorts 90% of the time.
99.
The only time that I'm getting dressed up is when I have to get dressed up, or if her and I are going out together, and even then,
he's in basketball shorts and a shirt.
For the most part. Yeah. But this particular time, I was dressed up, nice shoes, slacks. The guy had a collared shirt, fresh haircut, and I had this Apple Watch that had like a metallic type band or whatever. And she complimented me on the band. And I said, "Oh, thank you." And I thought that was going to be it. But then she proceeded to ask me other stuff. And I was like, oh, she's trying to get my attention. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, unless you are directly batting your eyes and you say something like, "Hey, I think you're handsome. What up? I don't pay attention to flirting
Yeah, no,
like
he
that.
be messing it. He be messing it, y'all.
So it wasn't until after I got in the car and I drove down the road a bit that I was like, oh, she was flirting with me. But she started by complimenting me on my Apple Watch band, a very key particular thing. And it wasn't too gaudy or too fancy or anything. So the fact that she caught that stood out to me. But then she complimented me on just my look in general. And I was like, all right, well, it was nice chatting with you. And I dipped. And y'all,
So funny.
to be straight up, so this was before her and I were together. I thought she was attractive, but I be in like go mode.
Be your own little world, baby.
So I'm like going to the store, get what I need to get, go to my next destination, which I was heading to CQ's house. And I just totally missed all the signals. So that was one compliment. And then the last compliment that I got was fairly recent. I had tested out some cologne because me and Sean were talking about colognes and whatnot. So I ordered this little tester kit thing and I was trying stuff out. And I ended up going to Sheets, which is right around the corner from where I live. And I was still rocking some of the cologne that somebody had complimented me on my smell. And that one, I caught that one from the beginning. I was like, ooh, you smell nice. Just like that. Like with the eyes, and everything. And she was definitely like inviting, things or whatnot. But I wasn't going there with her. And in this particular moment, if you're watching this, I'm not saying you're not attractive. I was not attracted to you if I were single.
Yeah, because you weren't single at that time.
But I'm saying like that don't matter. It's just you can look at somebody, and I don't think it's rude or disrespectful to say I'm not attracted to you.
I don't think it
can be a gut punch.
It can be a gut punch, and I look at it like in 2025, it can be dangerous because you don't know if people are sane when you say that to them. So that's another reason why I kind of like, if I don't hear you talking to me, and if I make it plain or obvious that I am distracted, maybe you won't converse with me. It's not that I'm trying to be rude, but I also don't know if you're a psycho. So it's me trying to save my life. Like, sorry, not sorry.
So in thinking about my two instances, I just gave you two specific instances in 5 years. Again, it's not that I go out looking for compliments or anything like that, but I can name two specific instances where I've gotten compliments in 5 years. You've probably gotten 2 compliments today right?
Yeah.
So that's how often the disparity is between women complimenting men versus men complimenting women. Now, Paul Bennett on YouTube, shout out to you, he said something that I think makes sense. Women will compliment something on the man, his car, his watch, how he's dressed, his hat, his clothes. I said how he's dressed, clothes, same thing. Whereas men, when we compliment women, we're complimenting the woman.
So that is a very valid point. And I had questions. So I asked a couple of my friends about it. And the thing is, of the men that I asked, so I asked probably like 6 or 7 men. And 2 of the men, I didn't ask them directly. I asked their partners.
Okay.
And their partners were able to relay the question. And those responses were hilarious because I think the men thought that they were getting set up by their partner.
100%. If we get asked a random question out the blue, guys are going to go, what's the setup?
And that's essentially what their text messages look like. But the men that I asked directly, 2 of them are married. And the 2 that are married, their responses surprised me. I was expecting a flat out, if someone compliments me in the wild, I'm appreciative of it. But both of them essentially said that it would kind of make them uncomfortable.
Really?
And the 2 married ones were both like, it would make them uncomfortable. One said it would either make him feel good or make him feel uncomfortable depending on the compliment. So I gave him 2 different scenarios. One said, hold up, let me pull it up.
Okay.
One of the 2 examples that I gave him said, quote, I love the shirt that you are wearing. The color really brings out the color of your eyes. And he gave that one a thumbs up and said, that's okay. That would make him feel good. The other one said, I just want to say you're very handsome. And I was like, imagine that you are walking one way and a woman is walking in the opposite direction. And she just says, I just want to say you are very handsome. And then keeps on walking. Like she doesn't stop to say, I think you're very handsome. Like, what's your name? My name is Lola, or anything like that. She's not doing any of that. She just briefly stops. I just want to say you're very handsome, and keeps on walking. And he said, low suspect. And I said, why? I said, what if it's in passing? I explained that. And he said, if I don't know you, I may let it slide. Depends on the tone, too.
Man.
So that made me think,
okay,
reading in between what he didn't say, that made me think that if he knows the person, he's going to deem it as flirting, and that's considered inappropriate because he's married. And then it also
yes,
depends on the tone. So if you're saying it in like an ultra provocative way, it doesn't matter if he knows you or not, he's going to deem it inappropriate. And then I further asked when he got, because he is married. So to his now wife, when they just met, I said, who approached first? Because to me, that kind of gets into the why. It's like, who approached first? And he said that his wife approached him first. So just throwing that out there.
Okay.
The other married person, flat out said that to give him an example of the compliment, it depends on what it is. And sometimes he's okay with a compliment, but his wife, and they've been married for like almost 30 years or a little bit more, that she may have a problem with it. And I guess like depending on the tone of it. So I gave him the same two examples of those two compliments. And he said, which I found curious, he said, if you flip that, I would never say that to, and then he named some of our female coworkers. He said he might say something, because he's a jokester. He said he might say something like, oh, that's a cool shirt, but it would look better if it were in Vikings purple and gold or something like that. He would try to flip
that's a good line.
Right, like he would flip it like that.
Uh-huh.
But he said otherwise, if you flip that compliment that a woman would say to a man, if you were to flip it to a man saying it to a woman may deem it inappropriate. So for him, he looks at it kind of from that perspective. Like I said, the two guys who were the other two guys that I talked to, who I asked their partner to ask the question, technically they didn't give me an answer because I think they thought it was a setup, so they didn't answer it. And the other two guys who are single, they both said that they would love to get a compliment, but they don't get compliments because men don't get compliments. And that's literally what they wrote. Men don't get compliments.
Is it because ladies are afraid to give compliments? Is it because I've been around the world. I've traveled internationally. And that seems to be a thing worldwide.
I don't know. Maybe it's, I'm going to throw some guesses out there. So the first thing that I would say is it's easier to tell if a woman's in a relationship than if a guy is in a relationship, I think, to a certain extent. So maybe we're just afraid of rejection and we don't want to say anything because we don't want to assume that you're single. And then the reality is you're not single. And then we're like stepping on toes here. Again, just throwing some random things out there. Maybe we think that maybe some women think that like men are supposed to come to them with everything, even the compliments, to like initiate conversation and then just kind of like go from there. So they clam up because it's not my place to say this to you. Like, you need to say this to me. I don't know.
Ladies, it's
I'm
2025.
So yeah.
It's okay to compliment a man. And I'm going to tell you right now, you compliment a man, that man's he's going to live on that all day.
All day. We'll remember it like 5 years later, as we can see.
The last time that I complimented a woman in the wild, don't think crazy because I ain't going there, there was this one lady that had this very big, poofy, curly, just out there hair. Not quite Afro puff, just very fluffy and poof. And I said, hey, love your hair. Just like that. And she said, thank you. And kept it going, right? That was it. I wasn't trying to compliment her to ask her for a number or anything. I just saw the hair, thought it was cool, complimented it, and kept it moving. I'm going to admit something, though.
What?
If she was with somebody, whether it could have been a friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, you never know these
Mm-hmm.
days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have given that compliment like that. So why is that a thing? Why is it that people would tend to compliment somebody if they see them by themselves versus if they're with their peers?
Well, I think that goes both ways. I think both ways you will see people are less likely to approach someone else when that someone else is amongst peers and amongst other people, because rejection is a thing. And getting rejected when there's no one else watching is far less embarrassing than getting rejected when there's an audience.
Mm.
So it's like, I think you're attractive. I want to come up and approach you in a bar, but you're surrounded by your boys, and maybe I think you're attractive, but you don't think I'm attractive, and your friends don't think I'm attractive. So I approach you. I'm like, hey, I think you're very handsome, and I know this is random, but I would love to get to know you a little bit. And then you and all your friends start clowning on me, or you're polite, but then your friends start clowning on me. Like, it's that rejection factor that I think goes both ways. And I'm not going to speak for a man, but I will say I've heard from other men that, like, if a woman is with a bunch of her friends, like, it is a little bit harder to approach her.
Okay. Would you,
Would I,
so
Michelle?
Michelle, would you give a compliment to a man that you found attractive if you didn't find that person sexually attractive?
Like, I find him intellectually attractive.
Like if would you compliment somebody that oh, here's why I'm asking this question. So let me back it up. I believe that when you're complimenting somebody that you're trying to get to know more than whatever, that you also find yourself sexually attracted to that person, right? So you're not just complimenting them just to compliment them. You're complimenting them because you're trying to get to know them.
My mind doesn't work like that.
Okay. Then how does your mind work?
My mind works if I get to know a personality before I get to know how a person looks. If a man is attractive on the outside, that's amazing. But that's not why I would approach someone. I wouldn't just approach a guy in a bar or in any public situation because I found him attractive. I would approach him because he's cute and he's doing XYZ that stands out to me. Or he is just doing something that stands out to me. Like, for me, I kind of operate on like a Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles type of thing. Like, if imagine if I can't see you, like, everything else has to be hitting. It can't just be looks because looks fade over time.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to speak for all men, but I want to say that if a man, besides how I complimented the person on their hair, like if I'm complimenting the woman, like how Paul made that distinction earlier, it's because I find you sexually attractive to me. So so not just attractive. And I think that people don't admit that enough, in my opinion. Meaning that I'm trying to figure out a way to say it very PG-13 like I see myself feeling some type of way when I look at you. Therefore, I am going to compliment you.
Oh, okay then. Oh, okay
And I
then.
think men don't mind doing that because we're not complimenting you because we just think that we should. I think that it's one of those things that we might believe that you would like it, and it's a way of breaking the barrier, so to speak.
Yeah, like, for me, I am very much Paul called me out on it, whether he knows it or not. He called me out on it. I am very much I will compliment like what a guy is doing, or I'll make a joke or something like that, or um if I see a guy and I find him attractive and I'd love to have a conversation with him, I'll be like, is that book good? Or like, what are you reading? I'll do something to kind of break the ice and not even talk about looks or something like that. I don't know. That's just me. And I will compliment like what a guy is wearing. But rejection was always a big component for me. So I didn't always approach the way that you all are talking about. I would kind of like play it cool a little bit and see what happened, but kind of want to get that early iceberg out, but then not too much.
Okay.
So I see Marcel is in the
Yeah,
building.
there's a couple of
Hey,
comments.
Sil.
Let me scroll back up. We got Tarika in the building, said, I'm here. What up, Tarika? Let me know when you receive your shirt. We got Tarika's out. Next I have to work on is Greek Pete. So Greek Pete, you're up. Send me your t-shirt size, fool. I know you sent it a while ago, but that was a while ago. So send it again. We got the seal in the building, and she responded saying, I have witnessed another woman compliment my husband and for me.
And for me, I was just so giddy.
Okay, I was just so giddy about the whole thing, while my husband was just blushing away and had the biggest smile for the rest of the day. Yes, that is how that works. And then she followed up by saying, needless to say, this did happen when we visited a church, and this woman was probably 60-ish years young. Hey, I don't care. Greatest
compliment's a compliment.
A compliment's a compliment. Because, like, I might look at it and be like, ooh, hey, if this was 20 years ago, my bad. I went off the rail on that one. Apologies. I'm going to eat this grape real quick while you keep us going.
I think in talking to these guys and finding out that they don't get compliments, and like to literally see the two single guys say, oh, it would make me feel so good. Like it would brighten up my day. But I don't get compliments, and like that was literally a part of the message that they sent me. I'm just like, that sucks. Like I can think of every compliment, not every compliment, because I do get a lot. You know, I put on something decent, and I get a lot. But what I will say is, I typically don't get compliments from men who are in heterosexual relationships.
Interesting. Okay. Is it more about your style or just your overall look that other types of men would compliment you on? Like,
so I'll get
what are they doing?
Meaning, I will get a compliment from a single guy.
Okay.
Or I will get a compliment from a guy who is in a relationship, but not a heterosexual relationship.
I understand that. Yeah.
Those are the two types of guys that I'll get compliments from. I don't get compliments from heterosexual men who are in relationships.
But I'm trying to think, what type of compliments do non-heterosexual men in relationships give you?
My attire. Like,
that's what I was.
Yeah,
yes. Okay.
They're like, oh, that's the cute outfit. That looks really nice on you. Or you look really nice today. Something like that. I'll get those from men who are not in heterosexual relationships. I love it. I'm like, thank you. And I'll go back to my it has pockets. Because I remember distinctly the last time one of my colleagues said that to me, I had on a new skirt and it had pockets. And I definitely put my hands in my pockets. It has pockets because I was so pumped about it. But yeah, I don't know. Heterosexual men who are in relationships don't get compliments from them.
That's a good thing. Think about that. That's a good thing, because if I was out here in a whole relationship and I'm complimenting, women just all left and right, first of all, it's going to get back to you because Frederick ain't that big.
And like, everybody knows me. Everybody knows me.
And I actually had this thought too, and this is a bit of a tangent, but follow me here.
Okay.
I had this thought that I would, like, early in our relationship, I was like, what if Michelle tests me by sending somebody up to me, flirt with me? Because I'll go out by myself to a bookstore or random places and just sit and chill. And I was like, if some random, now I get it. If some random person were to come up to me, start flirting and being all giddy or whatnot, I'm going to look around like, this a setup. I understand it now.
Like, Michelle done orchestrated this to be able to find out, like, what I'm going to do.
I understand it now. It's crazy that I thought that, I'll admit it. I don't think I've ever told you that. I've admitted that I felt like that was a possibility of something that could happen because you know a lot of people.
And then, so I know a lot of people, and then we both have on social media, our both of our profiles are public,
Mm-hmm.
and we publicly post one another. So there may be someone who may not be connected with me on social media, but because you have connected with them, because you're connected with them on social media and you've posted a picture of me, like we both get seen a lot more. It's like we've collided the world of people that we know here in our town, and we get seen and spotted and notified. Like there were plenty of times that people came up to you and started talking to you that you did not know, but they knew me, and they're like, "Oh, tell Michelle that such and such
Mm-hmm.
said hi." You're just like, wait. And the same thing with my students, because your picture, I have pictures of you on my desk. I have the calendar, so my students will see it and then be out in the wild, and they'll be
Mm-hmm.
like, "You're with Miss Early, aren't you?" And
Yep.
like they'll start. So yeah, it's a very thing. Like we can't do nothing. Not
Mm-hmm.
that I would, but we couldn't.
I
We
got you.
couldn't.
We're in the same page. I got you. Like, there's no need to make that disclaimer. That's funny though.
Yeah,
That is hilarious.
it is hilarious. He said large.
Peter said large. All right, Pete, I got you, my man. And great show, by the way. Pete right there, he's the ghost of Sparta, Sparta HQ Network. He does content around various subjects, pop culture, life and things in general. He hosted a fantastic thing with comedian Dwayne White.
Okay.
And it was really good. I'm not going to call it an interview. He just gave Dwayne the platform. Dwayne just launched a special. Super cool dude. Um, and go check out Pete's YouTube channel. He's there. Paul's a part of the network as well. Paul's the president of the Benevolent Bald Headed.
I should learn this. That way,
I gotta write that
when we
down.
get to this moment, I can help.
Yes.
I should learn it because I
Pete,
love alliteration.
Paul, put it in the chat.
And I will commit it to memory this time, which, if you ask my students, is also a trap because my memory sucks. But hey, let's go. We'll go. We'll go for it.
Should we, meaning you and I and the King and Me show, tell ladies over the age of, let's go 16, to start complimenting men? Is that something that we want to put out there?
I think we should.
Okay.
Like
Let's turn to the camera.
Let's make a change in this hide. Okay, so ready?
Let's do it.
Start complimenting men. There we go.
Wait, hold on. We got to do that a little bit. We got to have a little bit more drama with it.
Okay.
All right. So, ladies, women, if you're over the age of 16 and you're trying to improve your dating chances out there,
start sincerely complimenting men. Let them know that they are appreciated, they are seen, they are valued. I'm telling you, ladies, it will spice things up. It will have them feeling good and feeling amazing. And a compliment benefits both parties.
it does. That was good. I like that.
Oh, good.
Now, the other part of that is this too. Don't worry if you get rejected. It's literally a part of life. I know it sucks. I've been rejected. I know how it feels. But the great part about being rejected, really, is once you felt it, it's not as scary after you've been rejected the first time or gotten rejected early on. And it's kind of a catch-22 with some of the young men that I mentor. I have this guy, Brian. Brian calls me from time to time about girl questions. Brian's a cool dude. Within his element, life of the party. Around women, this dude is like Elmer Fudd. Who's that? Bugs Bunny? That's all, folks. And it's hilarious because he speaks great. He speaks eloquent, but he can't get past his hormones, I guess. So he'll call me and ask me for advice and things. And I give him what I think isn't just appropriate for his age, but appropriate for somebody in general to say, look, try this. So there's this one young woman that he likes that is a grade above him in college. And he's like, I think she likes me, but I don't know. I'm like, okay, tell me about the last time that y'all spent time together. And he shared this story of how they went out and spent all day together.
Aww, that's so cute.
She playing some stuff out. And I said, bro, stop. She likes you. Why don't you ask her if there's something here? Just be like, hey, I don't want to misread this, but is there something here? If she hadn't said something, it's probably because she's waiting on you.
I'm gonna tell you something. Like,
And as we've learned from this relationship, if you try and wait on, oh, man, you might be waiting a long time.
baby, if I hadn't gone out in that park out front and called Ellie and said, Ellie, was he feeling me or not? Like, what happened? Then we would not be here because you weren't going to come. And that's fine. That is fine. But what I'm saying is, in that moment, like, ladies, shoot your shot.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot your shot. And I'm not, trust me, I understand what the Bible says, because I know somebody gonna come back and say that the Bible says he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. I get that. But you also have to put yourself in a light where you were being seen. So I do also recognize that. And sometimes men are focused on what they're doing. They're focused on the situation where they are, because they do have this phenomenal situational awareness. So they're paying attention to all these things that they're not paying attention to the minute detail of you being attracted to them. So sometimes you do have to kind of put yourself in that light to be found. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A man's not going to find you just like hiding somewhere. Like, you have to put yourself out there a little bit. And sometimes that involves shooting your shot, giving a compliment like, hey, I really like that shirt. Or, you know, if you can't be that direct in a compliment, then come at it a roundabout way. Like, oh, what is The King and Me? Can you tell me about that? Or what's that book that you were reading? Or, you know what? What kind of watch is that? You know, something that kind of gets the conversation started. And then you can go from there and then hit them with like everything else, every other tool that you have in your tool belt once you get that initial conversation going.
Paul, I got a specific question for you. That was excellent advice, babe. Thank you.
You know, I try.
So Paul's been married a while. Paul, how much of communication would you put in a percentage out of 100? What's the importance of communication percentage wise, and why you would say that your marriage to your wonderful wife has lasted as long as it has? I would like to know that percentage. And the reason why I'm asking Paul specifically that question is to piggyback off of what you just said. Communication, communicate, open your mouth to say something, giving a compliment, verbal, or, you know, if you're deaf, how would sign language compliments work out? Okay.
Here.
My bad.
Here.
Okay, do that again.
Beautiful.
You're
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
And how about if I did it with like sultry eyes, like. Would that put emphasis on it? Okay. Let's see.
He threw the Bible at us.
Ruth shot her shot at Boaz. Is that true?
That is true. So, in the book of Ruth, Ruth was a Moabite, and she was married to a man who ended up dying, and she and her sister-in-law, so her husband's brother's wife, so the two sons died, the father died as well, so that left 3 widows. And in Israelite culture, men were supposed to be able to take care of the women. And since the mother-in-law had no other sons, had no husband to be able to produce other sons, she was going to leave Moab and then go back to her home country. And she told her daughters-in-law to, you know, go, you're young, remarry. The one daughter-in-law, Orpah, was like, all right, deuces. And I'm being... Ruth was like, wherever you go, I go. Like, we here, we're with it. So she was like, okay, bet. So they went back to the mother-in-law's home country, and there was a relative, because back in those times, if your husband dies and you don't have any children, you are supposed to go be with the closest relative, and that relative is supposed to serve as a kinsman redeemer, and that kinsman redeemer is supposed to marry you, and the two of y'all have a child to be able to carry on the lineage of the deceased husband. So there was the mother-in-law was like, okay, here's Boaz, like you can go work in his field, do all of this stuff because he had a lot of land, he owned a lot of stuff. He had dough. It was like you go work in his field, you do this and like earn your keep. And he's kin, so he's someone that you could marry. He's single. She eventually she shot her shot. Boaz said, "Look, I peep what you're trying to do. There is someone who's younger in age and closer in kinsman redeemship. Go try that person. If that person says no, then come back." Ruth did. That person said no. She came back. Two of them got married, and then, bam, that's the lineage of Jesus.
Huh.
I gave a really, really, really hoodie and holy like version of that rundown of that story. But yes, Ruth shot her shot. So like everyone, you'll hear them saying Boaz, but the reality is Ruth did shoot her shot.
Huh. Okay.
If she hadn't done what she had done, he wasn't going to go after
her. And he actually tried to say, go find the younger man
in the family. So again, there was someone else who was closer in relation than he was to her.
So in the Bible, they kept it in the family?
That honestly, that is how it is in Jewish culture. Like, not being funny, that is how it is in Jewish culture. You want to keep the lineage going, so you are supposed to marry a relative, a close relative of the person. If man A and woman B are married and they don't have any children from their union, and man A passes away, the woman is supposed to go to the next closest male relative who was unmarried, and she is supposed to marry him to be able to carry on the lineage of man A. Like, carry on in his name.
Whew.
Now,
I got questions.
There are some who do not ascribe to that, but that is what it was in biblical times. And there are still today some Jewish people who do hold on to that. And it is called a kinsman redeemer. And that's where we get the fact that, Jesus was our kinsman redeemer, and there's like way more Bible to all of that. But that is where it comes from.
Okay.
You have questions that you'll ask later, undoubtedly. And Paul says 50-50.
All right, so Paul said 50% communications, 50% cooperation. Cooperation. Can you look up the definition of cooperation?
Sure.
All right, and while you're doing that, because I'm trying to figure out in what way, I could directly ask you, but I don't know if you could put that in a text. What about cooperation?
The process of working together to the same end.
Okay, so they have an agreement, which is something that you and I talked about, is what do we agree to? And are we going to honor the things that you and I had our agreement on? So that's cooperation by definition. Okay. How are we doing with that, you think?
Cooperating?
Yeah.
Wait, what was it again? Before I give a petty response, let me look it up one more again.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look it up one more again. The process of working together to the same end.
Come on.
We alright.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm kidding. We're good.
Okay. Let's see. Let me go check TikTok.
You are cooperative.
Good. Because if I wasn't, this would be awkward.
For you.
You think? We're on TikTok as well. TikTok, thank y'all for tuning in. We've gotten a couple of likes and things on the profile as well. If you comment over there, we can't post it up on the chat yet. We're working out those technical difficulties. Now, we're coming up towards the end of the show, and I'm going to bring back something that we would do early on, and that was read something that came off of Reddit and attempt to offer our advice.
Okay.
So I picked the question for today. And I picked this because I think that this is going to be something that's applicable for our relationship. Michelle doesn't know what it is.
I do not. I'm going in blind.
So I'm going to bring it up on the screen and read it as well. So let me bring it up here. Uh-oh. You got to be kidding me. Well, Messenger doesn't want to open because Android is deciding to have some issues, but
don't come for Android like that or live television. People gonna think Android is a problem. It's not a problem.
Right now it is, but I have other ways of doing this. So let me do this, and let me bring this up here, and then I'm gonna have to do this.
All right, here we go. Be able to see that?
Nope. So I'm gonna have to lean in. So I'm leaning in. Don't worry about it, babe. Just pay attention. So my husband, who's 32, says that I, a 33-year-old woman, is being controlling when I ask if he's coming to bed too soon. Is that controlling?
No.
So my husband, who's 32, says that me, 33-year-old female, is being controlling when I ask him if he's coming to bed too soon. We've been together for 5 years, almost, and most of the time he doesn't get mad if I ask him this question. But tonight he got pissed. At 11:30 p.m., I was going to bed and said goodnight to him while he was on his computer and asked if he was coming to bed soon. He relayed, yeah, soon. I went to bed and woke up at almost 1 a.m. and he never came to bed. We both have to get up early in the morning for work. He's starting a new job and needs to go in to do the startup paperwork. I figured he lost track of time and went out to check on him and asked if he's coming to bed soon. He immediately got annoyed with me and I went back to bed. He stormed off to take a shower, and at 2 a.m. I woke up to him throwing his clothes around and asked what's going on. He started yelling about how I'm trying to control him, and if I wasn't his wife, he'd F me up. Ooh, I didn't read this whole thing. So I kind of just read the first couple of sentences. Okay, we don't condone that here at The King and Me.
Not at all.
Continuing, he's never laid a hand on me, but he'll say the most vicious things when he's mad. I just laid back while he stormed off to the living room. He came to bed at about 3 a.m. and I could tell he was still annoyed and asked why he was upset. He went off more about how I'm trying to control him when I asked him if he's coming to bed soon. I just want to know if I'm being controlling. I never thought of myself as a controlling person, but I was just honestly wondering if he was coming to bed soon. Let me start this off. I think that the question that was asked was an innocent question, but it should only be asked once. If you were to wake up 2 hours later, I would have a suggestion. Don't say to me, babe, it's 2 a.m. I likely know what time it is. I wouldn't even inquire as to why you still up. My suggestion would be acknowledge what you see, go on about whatever it was that you got up for. If it was came just to check on me, just go back to bed. He knows what he's doing. I've had a situation where I was asked that question and I said soon. Now I'm gonna tell y'all, soon isn't a relative time to me.
Lord.
I also don't like to be pinned down to a time. So if I say soon, that could be 15 minutes, that could be 3 hours. But if I'm in the middle of doing something, I'm doing something for a reason. I feel like coming back and asking that again, it would bother me a bit. That's my thoughts on it. Now, the level of what he did, I don't agree with. I believe he was flat out wrong for communicating with his wife that he would F her up. That is completely wrong. You do not do that. Also, and I'm not trying to victim shame here, but in this instance, we're only getting her perspective, and she could tell it in a way that's very innocent. I was only trying to figure out if he was coming to bed soon, but you don't know her tone and how she said it, what else was done and said throughout the day, right? And there's other stuff that could equal up. And I only bring this up because I've seen situations like that where if you were to take one person's account, it would make that person's story seem very believable. But if you have the tape tells a whole different story when you account for tone and everything else that wasn't said, but was that wasn't said when it was retold, but it was said and done in the actual conversation.
I also look at it like, number one, definitely do not condone abuse. Putting your hands on any other person for no reason whatsoever. Do not condone it. Do not support it. So in that part, if that is what was said, then that is completely unnecessary and unhealthy. However, I look at everything else and I'm just like, the more than once, I would not have asked. Me being me and the person that I am, if I had come downstairs and I saw that you were still doing whatever and I knew you had an early morning, I'd been like, you know, you got early morning, right? And then when you said, yeah, I'd been like, oh, all right then. And
That's a
I would
good
have
way.
left you to your own.
Yes.
Like, that would have been, that is me saying, are you coming to bed soon? But I would have just left it at that simply because you grown. You gonna mess up your own life and your schedule. That's on you. But don't come crying to me later. I will definitely hit you with the, oh no, I don't want to hear about that later.
As you should.
Like, I
As you
will
should.
say that. Like, I'm definitely that person because I say that to my students too. Oh no, natural consequences, homie. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. You were up at 2 a.m. So don't hit me back at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. talking about, oh, I'm so tired, I'm so exhausted. Like, this was such a long day. Oh, really? Then maybe you shouldn't have been up at 2 a.m. Maybe you shouldn't have been up at 2 a.m. So, and I mean, Paul is right. Like, men, you don't need to be mothered. You don't need that extra step. You have a maternal figure. If you don't, may they rest in peace or whatever it may be. But you don't need that. Like, that's not what you got a wife for. That isn't what you got a wife for. However, I do also look at it from the perspective of, it is your marital bed, and like, what are you doing that's so important in that moment that you can't come to sleep? Because I look at it like, you and I had this conversation about you gaming, but I also look at it, I am the type of person who wants, if my partner and I are in the same area and it's not an emergency and it's not something that we had already talked about, I do wonder, like, when are you coming to bed? Like, I want to be in the bed with you, not us sleeping in two different areas. Like, that was never a thing that I understood. So I am gonna be curious. I am gonna ask the one time. I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask the one time.
And see, our real life situation is this. As of right now, you go to bed way earlier than me, and you're up way earlier than me. Now, while we don't live together now, that is the plan here in the near future. It's coming up relatively fast. And I looked at the initial thing. Now, you and I've talked about this in the past before. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, when I come to bed, I'm coming to bed. I don't have like a set bedtime. I should be in
I was just
bed
about to say, you should have a
by,
set bedtime
yes,
because it helps with like everything
everything
else that you
else.
need to take care of.
Correct.
So it is detrimental to you that you don't have a set bedtime.
I don't disagree with that.
But you're stubborn.
No, there's some things that I'm very disciplined about in life and other stuff that I'm not as disciplined in.
And it's the things that you're not disciplined in that are all related to your health that all need the same level of discipline that you give to everything else.
I mean, you could say everything in life is connected to everything that has to do with my health.
Well, actually, yeah, for you I can. So it's like, this is why, like, with you, I'm like, okay, you do need to be going to bed sooner. You do need to not have so many things on your plate. So for as much as you talk about me and the stuff on my plate, you need to have less on your plate as well because you need to be getting rest. Like, you have a whole heart condition that requires you to get rest. You have stuff that you got to do that requires you to be rested. You need rest and you need to be able to go to sleep with, like, the devices and stuff and machinery that you're supposed to go to sleep with. But because you be staying up late, yes, gotta go to the AAVE because you be staying up late, African American Vernacular English.
Okay.
Because you be staying up late and doing all the things, you don't do those other things that you need to do, which directly impact your health.
Hmm.
Like today, you did something after work that I said, you could have been doing something else during this time.
Yeah, but look, impromptu for that would have been not good.
Nah, you could have done it. No excuses. Ain't that what you say to me?
Oh, don't be putting me
Oh,
on me. Don't be giving me me.
oh,
That is
oh.
illegal. The illegality of it
Oh
all.
my gosh.
Okay. So what I would tell the lady on Reddit, is it controlling? No. I would suggest one time and leave it alone after that.
Natural consequences.
Yep, allow natural consequences to happen. You can try and look out for somebody, right? There is nothing wrong in that. Now, if you try and look out for somebody often and that person blows up on you every single time, you may need to evaluate if that's a relationship that you need to be in, marriage or not. If you're getting abused, assaulted, manipulated, and all of those things inside of a marriage, that's not a marriage that you should be in, or a relationship in general that you need to be a part of. It is unhealthy long term for your mental and everything. So, is it controlling? No, but I don't recommend repeating the same thing to the same person. They're already showing you what it is that they're doing. And by you saying it, it's obvious he's not going to just be like, you know what, babe, you right. And just stop and come to bed. I'm curious, what was he doing? Now, I'm a gamer. So if I'm up gaming at night, that'll be an obvious thing. You can see me clicking on the control and stuff.
But that's what you're talking about. Like there was literally a void in the story. What was he doing?
Yes.
You came downstairs and you saw him. What was
he doing? Was he scrolling websites, looking at stuff?
Was he on the computer? Was he like typing and trying to do stuff? Maybe he's having anxiety about that new job that he's about to start. Yeah. And like this is his way of like pacing and stuff like that. However, I smiled because Paul Bennett over here talking about some incentives work.
And like, what type of incentives we talking about, Paul?
I'm saying, how did you look when you came down the stairs to get your husband to come to bed? Did you have on a muumuu or did you have on your birthday suit? Like, incentives work.
Incentives work. I mean, if you want to, throw on some lingerie or something real, I can't even say that. Let me stop. I'm going to okay. I have a thing.
He's about to dig us into a deep hole.
No, here's the thing. If I'm actively doing something, I don't like to be distracted. If you were to come down in your birthday suit or some type of sexy lingerie, when I'm in the middle of something, it's not a rejection, but I might go, I need to finish this.
At 2 a.m. in the morning, you don't need to do it. Like, you get tunnel visioned about things that don't need to be done in that particular time.
In your opinion, it doesn't need to be done at that time.
We talked, and like I say this lovingly.
I'm listening.
You know you got time management issues.
I do.
And I have ADHD. So like I am the epitome of I will get tunnel visioned and do something. But for the most part, it happens during appropriate times. And you say the same thing to me when I get tunnel visioned on something that, I need to go to bed. I got tunnel visioned on something Friday night and stayed up working on it until like 1 a.m. And I paid the price come Saturday.
Sure did.
I was exhausted, but I had a great day. But I was exhausted, but I was able to get that thing accomplished. But your tunnel vision, I don't know, because like, oh man, you just, I don't know how to put it into words.
I've gotten this far in life successfully with that level of tunnel vision. So that I'm going to tell you right now that is how I am.
I will say this.
So incentives work most of the time.
I will say this. Every single person who has started the New York City Marathon most likely crosses the finish line, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how much time does it take everyone to do it?
It's all varied.
So what I'm saying is you get tunnel vision about something because you're like, I need to do it. and then you kind of get distracted from other things that you were doing. So you're crossing that finish line, yes, but it's not being done in the most effective manner. So it's taking you longer to do it than it could if you would effectively strategize how to better use your time.
Okay. I don't disagree with
It's not
that.
going to change anything you do. It is not going to change the way you butter your bread. Like, it's not.
What gave it away? Because like you looked at
I
me.
know you.
Okay,
That's what gave it away. I said it because it was noteworthy, but I know you. It's not going to change the way you butter your bread. You still going to do what you want to do.
I like that saying. That's nice. All right, we've gone over Reddit. We've talked about the main story. Let's wrap it up. Is there anything that you would add or something that you would say different around women complimenting men?
Like, spread it like confetti. Put that thing on everything. Like, understand that women aren't the only ones in a relationship. Men deserve to feel appreciated, to feel seen, to feel valued just as much as we want that as well. And I don't think it's a matter of femininity and masculinity. I think it's just a matter of this is a human being and you're another human being. Just as you would want to be treated, treat this other person. So compliment them, wine and dine them, open doors for them too. And it's not a matter of only men can be chivalrous towards women and women can't do the same. Kindness, decency, it goes a long way, and it's not gender specific. So do that. Open doors, spice things up a little bit. Cook a meal for him. Let him put his feet up. Take care of him. Like at the like I don't want to sound too business transactiony, but at the end of the day, this is someone you say you love. And the Bible says that you were supposed to love your partner the way you love yourself. And if you would want all of that done to you, then do it to your partner that you're with.
Okay. My advice would be I'll enhance what I said earlier. Practice, communicate, just go out and do. And even if you don't say, well, King, I'm just not comfortable giving compliments out like that, I would suggest practice. There is at least one person that you know, and you could, it would be best to do it on the type of person that you're trying to go after. So if
Yeah.
you're a woman and you're trying to attract a man or give compliments to a man, you have somebody within your trusted circle, more than likely, that you can say, hey, just be vulnerable and say, I don't do well with compliments, but it's something that I'd like to work on. Can you help me practice this? Or tell me, how you would like to get compliments. And while that's just one particular person, you're still at least getting direct feedback
Yeah.
about something that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. So Michelle and I are talking about it. Maybe somebody that isn't used to complimenting people, but they want to add that to their toolkit to put themselves out there more, expand on their communication skills. We're sharing some ideas and things that you can do. There's people in the comment section, folks in the chat that can offer a wealth of advice and things as well. So just like the person asked on Reddit about was it controlling, there's other questions that get asked on Reddit as well. There's people seeking feedback. Take what people are talking about, adjust for what works for you. But the best thing that you can do to learn how to be good at complimenting people, ladies, is just do it. And then take that feedback and tweak it where it's necessary.
I like it. Good stuff, babe.
All right, let's see if we got any comments and then close out the show. Coming over to TikTok. Hey, Melody just dropped in. What up, fam? And gave a gift as well. We appreciate that over on TikTok. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Coming back to
Paul Bennett
the
said, what
chat.
you talking about, Willis? Talking about incentives, like if you busy and incentives don't work. What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis? All right. Well, that is our live stream for today. We would like to thank everybody for tuning in. We will see y'all next Monday, which is not the last Monday.
No, I told you we right in the middle, 2 before, 2 after.
Yeah, okay. Hey, we are 100 and I'm gonna look at this specifically. Oh, I don't have it up. 114 days until we go to Japan. and I am looking forward to that.
Konnichiwa.
Our first, no, it's not our
It's
first.
not our first.
It's not our first international trip together.
Nope. This is the first one where we're gonna get stamps because Canada does not give stamps, but yeah.
And it's the longest trip that you and I will have done distance-wise and time-wise. So if we can survive this with Castle
3 days. Yes. In another
country, then I believe that this relationship got what it takes. All right.
And you know how they say women always have like a bailout option? I do have a friend out
Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
who is getting married this Sunday.
I saw that.
Yes.
I saw that.
Yay.
I met her friend when she came here from overseas. Fantastic person.
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting married. And I really wish her much success and happiness. You know, people that when you meet them for the first time, you really get good vibes.
Yeah.
She has nothing but good vibe
Yes.
energy. And like Paul, I want to get her on the show as well. Paul, I know I've been talking. We really need to get
It's
you
gonna be
on the show.
difficult for her because you know the time difference,
time
but
zone.
yeah,
We'll make it work.
we'll make it work.
I don't know why this is frozen.
Maybe we'll just go live when we're there with her.
Oh,
I'm telling you, them degrees, they be kicking in the last minute.
yeah.
They be kicking in.
See, Michelle, you have some amazing, wonderful ideas to go along with that sexy face of yours.
And you have made a wonderful decision in life by choosing me.
Yo, on that note, we gonna end the show. That was good.
I hope my dentist, because
That
me,
was
my
good.
dentist, and the dental hygienist, we have all been like cracking jokes about how we were going to do something like that with our partner. Oh man, I gotta tell them when I see them next week. I gotta tell them like, I did it, y'all. I did it.
Don't just tell them, show them. All right, baby.
All right.
All right, I'll come to you.
Me.
Mwah.
Love you.
Love you. Bye, y'all.